Today I like to talk about how I found my perfect brand name and how you can do the same. And with perfect I mean a usable brand name, because there is no such thing as a perfect brand name. But let's get started. Hi, my name's Matt, and recently I've started a new business. And I thought I'd document that whole process so you can learn from my successes and avoid my mistakes. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, do me a favor and subscribe. When it comes to your brand name, there are, certain aspects you have to think about before even thinking about your brand name. Let me be a bit more specific. I've found that there are 6 things that are important to me when it comes to a brand name. These 6 things are that it's not a registered trademark, so I can brand it myself, that the URL isn't taken in my country or for that domain name I intend to use, that it sounds good if you hear it and pronounce it, that it's rather easy to remember as well as easy to pronounce, and it looks good when it's written down. These are the 6 things that I cared about. And there are some things I don't really care about when it comes to my brand name, like that it has a deeper meaning. I don't care if the name has a deeper meaning or not. And I don't care about if it's category specific. For example, for the video business I'm creating, it doesn't have to do anything with video. I don't care about that. Just a generic name for that business. And I find that to be a plus, because as my business will evolve eventually, I'm not limited to a specific category of business that's already mentioned in the name. So hopefully that will help me to, adapt or evolve better than with a name who has, for example, videography in the title or blah blah film. So with a brand name that is more or less generic, I don't have that issue. Now, how did I go about finding that name? And to be honest, it was quite the hassle, as it always is when finding a brand name, I suppose. So first I went on YouTube and I searched, like you did, how to find a proper brand name. And there was quite a good TED Talk who went through the 6 or 7 different kinds of brand names. I'll link it down below so you can go and watch it for yourself after you've watched this video, please. So the first thing I did was play with words. In the beginning I thought, maybe I incorporate something about videography into the brand name. And I started playing around with words like video, brand and image and so forth. Nothing came of it. Then I started to play with camera specific words and phrases like aperture or shutter or full frame, and started to play around with words like these. For example, I came up with the idea of full frame media. Didn't go with it because it was already taken by videography companies. Who would have thought? The real breakthrough for me came when I started to use Namelix, I suppose. I'll link it down below as well. Namelix is a word generator from the company Brandmark.io. And basically you type in your keyword specific for the niche or the category you work in, and it gives you brand names according to this 6 different categories of branding names or brand names. So I spent about 2 days playing around with Namelix, and there's a lot of less well thought out brand names that Namelix gave me. But after a while I've found a few that were quite interesting to me, and so I decided to write all those names that I find more or less interesting, to write them down. And the thing with Namelix is that it already gives you an idea how the final brand name would look like. That's because Brandmark is a company that designs logos. And I've stumbled across a few that I found to be really nice looking, that they pronounced well, they looked good, they had a nice sound to it. And so in the end, I wrote down 4 to 5 of these possible brand names. Then I asked anyone who cared what they thought about these 4 to 5 brand names. And every one of my closer contacts got the message, hey, I'm thinking about one of these 4 brand names. Which one do you like the most? And don't do that. Because at the end I was none the wiser. Because most people had different opinions. Or all of them had different opinions. And so in the end I narrowed it down to 3 people or 4 people that I really thought would give me a good response. And that's what you should do. Narrow down 4 to 5 brand names and then narrow down the 4 to 5 people you intend to ask. Don't ask anyone who's in your contacts. That doesn't work. Some names were really nice when you pronounce them, but had a connotation to them that didn't quite feel right. For example, one of the brand names that Namelix gave me and I really liked was Vedetic. The thing is, my sister pointed out that it sounded like something that has to do with ethics, Vedetic. And after thinking about it for a while, I realized that she was right, and I didn't do anything nearly close to ethics. So Vedetic, as nice as it sounds and as good as it looked with the fonts provided by Brandmark, it wasn't a taker for me. And after a while, so from start to finish it took about 2 weeks, I narrowed it down to one name. And then I thought, well, okay, let's give that one a try. And I had a cup made, a coffee cup with the name on it, with the final logo on it. So I went to Brandmark, I bought the name, the logo, and had it printed on a coffee mug. So I had to look at it every single day and see if I get bored of it or annoyed with it or not. I didn't, which I thought was quite nice. So drumroll please. The name of my new company is Hayslide. If you can see it. Focus. There you go. Hayslide. And I think it has a nice ring to it. The font looks really nice and clean, which I like. And it's easy to remember, Hayslide. And it has nothing to do with videography. So if I intend to grow or expand into other media related ventures, the name is good for that. So that are my tips for finding your brand name. They might not be the most scientific or well thought out ideas to find your brand name, but that's how I did it. And so far I'm quite happy with it. It's been 3 weeks now with that new name, and so far I'm quite happy with it. So if you're thinking about starting your business, that's an idea how to find your brand name. I wouldn't recommend going with business.yourname or yourname.business, because then you're quite limited with your options, because your name is always associated with that company. You can go about like Richard Branson, who's associated with Virgin, but Virgin has nothing to do with the name of Richard Branson. That would be one example. So that's how I thought about it and how I finally did it. And I hope that was helpful to you. And then thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.